Okay, we're up to Daf Ches, and we're starting on Daf Zayin Amid Beis. Question is, if you take the share of Rabbi Elazar said, if you have a shchita and you have Kabbalah dam, and then you need X amount of dam, and you go ahead and you divide it up into two, it doesn't count. That's what it was. Question is whether Yolif Mine Milsa Mi Milsa, and he mentioned Rabbi Elazar said that you will not go ahead and combine the two. Fred the Gemara on that. Now we're going to analyze that. Does Rabbi Eliezer really say that by dam it's not mekadesh lechatzayin if it falls in the klishares? Right. 1 second. Right. Itmar chavite kohen gadol. Now the kohen gadol brought from an isarin of flour. He brought chatzi isarin in the morning and chatzi isarin in the afternoon. It was totally burnt. It was a minchas chavitin. Yeah, and it was also brought by the Minchas Chinuch. That was when the day Yom Mashiach said the day they came into being, they brought this carbon. Chaviti Kohen Gadol, Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Eino Kedusha Lechatzayin. It's not Kodesh Lechatzayin. Eino Kedusha Lechatzayin, meaning if you go ahead and you would take the Saran and bring it in two halves, it doesn't become Kodesh. So you need to go ahead and put a fully Saran in the Kli Shares. If you put half and half, it would not be Kodesh. If you're going to go ahead and bring in halvesies, kedusha lechatzayin. You can go magdish it halvesies. So we're asking a kasha lechayra with zustelling Rabbi Eliezer by dam. It doesn't combine, yet it does combine by chavitin. Now you may say, what's the kasha? One speaking about a zevach that's domim, and one speaking about a mincha. So maybe by mincha he says yes, and maybe by and he gave a reason that since it's going to be brought in half, so in Mela you can go ahead and bring it in half. So says the Gemara, v'im isa amin aleph, v'im isa, and if you're going to say that dam is like kiddush, so leilif mi dam, let's learn from dam. Just like dam, you can't be magdash lechatzayin. Who adin the chavitin, you can't be magdash lechatzayin. Just like dam, you can't be magdash lechatzayin. Who adin chavitin, you can't be magdash lechatzayin. V'chitema, you'll tell me, Rebbe Lazar milsami milsaloi gamar. Perhaps he doesn't learn mincha from dam, and in other words, and dam no, but mincha yes. V'ha'amar Rebbe Lazar mincha shekamtza behechal. Now, where should the mincha be nikmatz? He said it could be nikmatz as soon as you come in, but you didn't need the north. It could be even in the Ezras Yisrael. It could be, but in the hechel, in the meaning in the place of the menorah and the mizbeach hazov and the shulchan, would you do it in there? In other words, that's the oil mayed. So usually it's done in the azara. Usually it's done in the azara. The mincha is in the azara. Says a mincha shenik mitzvah behechel, that you did kemitza in the hechel, in a way proper, guys. Kshera, it's kasha. You know why? Shekem matzinu basilik bazichin, because we find the removal of the bazichin. Good. So pirish. Bazichin is the shtei lechem, guys. We did this the other day, and we're going to do it again now. The removal, the removal of the two pots of frankincense of levina that was on the shulchan is tantamount to kamitza. It's the same thing. So just like that, you take off his kamitza. Who I didn't be kaimitz. Now, where does the silik bazichin take place? In the shulchan. Where's the locale of the shulchan? It's in the hechel. So you can learn out mincha from what? From hechel. Good. So you can learn out mincha of kamitza of a mincha from the silik. So what do you see? So you do learn milsa. And if you learn milsa, you should learn chavitin to dam, just like dam is not okay. So too what? Chavitin's not okay. Again, Rabbi Elazar said the chavitin is a soren here. You can go ahead and magdash half and half. By dam you can't. Fred the Gemara, let's learn that from dam you can. Says the Gemara, well maybe you don't learn one thing from the other. But if you don't learn one thing from the other, you're learning out what? You're learning out kmitza from the heichel. You're learning and saying that. Now, obvious question is, this is mincha. Okay, says the Gemara. Mincha, and for the Gemara, mincha mi mincha yalif. You can learn out a regular mincha that kamitza could be done behechel from the silik bazichin. Again, lechem aponim is a sort of a mincha. The lechem aponim is a type of mincha, so that you do learn out. But mincha midam lo yalef. But mincha from dam you don't learn. So therefore, dam nachinami can't be magdish hevzis, but minchas chavitin could be. Since you're going to be makriv at hevzi, you can be magdish at hevzi. Okay. So again, the kasha was Rabbi Eliezer says by mincha by dam not chavitim yes. Let's learn out chavitim no like dam. Says why no? You can say you can't learn it out. You could learn it out, but I don't learn out mincha from dam. You learn out mincha from mincha. I learn out mincha from mincha. I learn out mincha from the heichel where you have silik of besichin. Okay, Fred the Gemara mincha mi yalif. Okay, so the next piece of Gemara needs a little hakdama, guys. So we're familiar with the avoidus of the mincha, right? The kamitza, the nesinas bekli, the kamitza, the nesinas bekli, the halacha, and the burning. Those are the things. Now, you have to have the mincha. Has to be when you do kamitza, it can't be missing anything. It's an isar in a flour. Let's say it's a little bit short. You put an isar and you magdish it. You took out a little bit and then you did kamitza. It's puzzle. It's puzzle. You can't. Not only can't you eat it, you can't even. Not only you can't burn it and you can't eat it. Got it? Because it's a mincha that's chaser. It cannot be chaser. A mincha that's chaser, you can't do kamitza. If it's chaser this year, you can't do kamitza. It's puzzle. What happens if I do kamitza? Now I have shirayim, the leftover, and then it becomes chaser. Got it? You got a mincha. After you did the kamitza, it was full. Before you had a chance to burn it, now it's lacking. So the halacha is that you can't eat it, and there's a machlokes amoraim whether you can burn it or not. Good? So again, now we're going to tzushtel, guys. We're going to tzushtel the lechem aponim. I'll give you Gemara outside. We have our dimyan between lechem aponim and a regular carbon. The dimyan is that the removal of a zichin is tantamount to kamitza. That's what we have. Good? So let's say your lechem aponim would break before you took off the vazichin. So that would be the same thing as a shira of a carbon mincha that's chasa kaidnu kamitza. Before you had chasa over here would be the lechem aponim breaking. So you're missing part of the lechem aponim. Good. Let's say after you went ahead and took it off, then it broke. That would be the same thing as what? As shirayim being lacking before you burn the vazichin. Again, by burning the klimitz, you're going to be burning the frankincense. Good. So that's what. So now we want to know if you learn out mincha from mincha. So let's see the Gemara. Umincha mi yalif vatanya achalei parka. Before you removed the levina, before you did the kamitza, nifris lachma the lechem became chaser. Then halechem pasel. The lechem is puzzle, you can't eat it. Vein makder alav esabazichin, nor can you go ahead to be makder bazichin. Why? Because this is a what? This is a mincha shechaser koydem kamitza, guys. The lechem upon him broke before you did the kamitza, before you removed the levina. Mishe parka nifres lachma. Once you remove the levina, then nifres lachma halechem pasel umakder alav esabazichin. The lechem is pasel. And you can go ahead and burn the bezichin. Guys, you good so far? The Amar Rabbi Laza, loy parka mamish. When it says you did the bezichin, it doesn't mean you actually did do it. Elakivin she'egiyah zmana lefarek. Since you reached the time of doing the siluk bezichin, 6 hours in the day, guys. You reach 6 hours in the day. That's the zman of removing the levina. Even if you didn't go ahead, afal pisha loy parka, even if you didn't move it yet. And then it goes ahead and is chasa de lechem. It's kamisha parka damya. It's considered what? As if it was removed already. Good. It's if you're going to. So again, you hear this, guys. Listen. If the halacha is, according to Rabbi Laza, if after you remove the bazichin, it lost its puzzle, but you can burn it because it's shirayim missing. After, okay? Now, if you're going to learn from siluk, from bazichin, right? You learn one from the other, this should be a classic case of what? Of a klimitz that you was chasa before kamitza. You reached the zman of doing it, but you didn't do it yet. If I didn't go ahead and remove the mazich and I didn't do kamitza, and if it broke at that point in time, it should be a mincha that was chasa kaidin kamitza. And you're telling me that Rebbe Lezer learns out, one from the other. So the kasha is, if in fact a carbon mincha before you did kamitza, you're missing the shear. It's puzzle. Why does Rebbe Lezer hold, and he learns out mincha mi mincha? Why do you learn out lechem upon him? And now you're telling me the lechem upon him. As soon as you get the time of what of kamitza, even if you didn't do it yet, it's considered as if you did do it, and therefore what you would be able to burn it. Fred the Gemara Kasha, if you're learning out from mincha, it should blibe a carbon mincha that was chaser before kamitza because you didn't do it yet. So what do you see? It must be you do not learn out one from the other. That's the Gemara's kasha. How was that? Says the Gemara inside. That's again, the parka here is tantamount with kamitza. Kimisha parka damya. It's as if he did it. Vamai. If you're going to learn out what mincha from mincha, tabi kim mincha shechasra koidim kamitza, guys. The lechem upon him broke before you did it. And what's the halacha? You can't burn it. It's possible. Yet you're telling me you could burn it. And for Gemara, holy kash, it's not a problematic. Mincha loy koimitz didei. Take out the berbera. V'ho bora koimitz didei. Guys, when you have an isar in a flower, do you know where the kamitza is? The kaimitz is? Do you know which kernels are going to be what? The kaimitz? No, it's all semished. It's all together. You don't know what's going to be the kamitza. Over here, by the pot of frankincense, do you know what's going to be burnt? Yeah, you do know. So in other words, all I'm lacking is time, really. But I'll view it. In other words, what do I need? What's the act of kamitza over here? The picking it up and burning it. I know where it is. It's right over here. By the kaimitz, the reason it's puzzle. I don't know which before I put my hand in and create the kamitza. I don't know which is over here. I know. So what are you missing? You're missing the zman. Zman is not a chesaron. It's boira that this is it. Okay, so I will view this as if you did it already as soon as you hit 6 hours. Okay, now here's another problem, guys. So great. Now you'll view it that way. Are you missing from lechem upon him?
No.
Yes, it's broke. It broke. You broke the lechem upon him. Broke. I don't know if you're Rabbi. It's broken. That's why it's chasa. It's chasa. Lechem upon him broke. It broke before you did this. That was the kasha. It's chasa before the kamitza. Okay, so now you're going to tell me the kamitza was done, guys, right? The kamitza was done. So now it's like what? It's shirayim. If the kamitza was done already, if the silik was done already, then we're going to view the lechem upon him as shirayim. 1 second. If you go ahead and do a kamitza if you did the kamitza before you burnt it, it's chasa, you also can't burn it, according to my opinion. Said Rebbe Lezer, you could burn this. Fred Gemara Kasha, Miman of Shach. If you're going to tell me that you didn't do the kamitza yet, it's a chasa before. If you're going to tell me you did kamitza, it's chasa yefta. Either way, you shouldn't be able to burn it. Fred Gemara Kasha. So you're telling me it's boror. Okay, very good. Ella, take out the word miata. Ella, now that you're going to view this siluk as if it's done already, as the act of kamitza was done already, it should be like shirayim, the remnant of the grain that got lost between kamitza and aktara. They ain't maktir and kaimitz aleim. You can't do it. And Rebbe Lezer says you could. How are we doing? It's very quiet in here. I'm going to repeat it, okay? The removal of the frankincense of the levina siluk is tantamount to kamitza. This lechem panim broke. It broke before I took it out. Says Rabbi Lezer, if it broke before you took it out, finished, kaput. However, if you reach the time of 6 hours when you're supposed to go ahead and take it, then you can burn it. Fred the Gemara, how could you burn it? If you did the kamitza because you reached the time, and it's already separated, right? It's in its pot. So l'chayra, now that you're missing lechem upon him, it has a din of shirayim that is missing before you did the aktara, which you can't burn, according to one opinion. What's the answer? Let's go to the other opinion. Okay, says the Gemara.
The fact that it's in the pot, it has to be taken off the shulchan to burn. Right? You can't burn it also on the shulchan.
No. But we're going to view it as, since it's right over here, we'll remove it. We'll view it as removed already.
So then it's removed the week before when you
No. You didn't reach this man yet. It has to stay on the whole week. It's too early. It's chasas man. It's chasas man. You can't do. Says the Gemara now. Very good. Says the Gemara. Lav plukta ninu. Rabbi Lezer Sava lo kimad yam shiraim shechasu min kamitz l'aktorah makta kamitz aleim. He's of the opinion that you could. So that's why Yehuda says, once you reach that zman and it's missing. Now, I can't mata the shirayim to eat. That I can't do. I can't mata the shirayim to eat. That I can't do. But you know what I could do? I could go ahead and burn it. Very good. So, in other words, he does learn out mincha from mincha, right? He does learn mincha from mincha. And over here, the difference is, the reason why lechem upon him is different, you don't learn it out because the kmitza is separate already and the other one's not. Guys, good? Okay, Gufa. We began yesterday, we said, the chavitim of the Kohen Gadol, we said Rabbi Yochanan says is you can't have, and Rabbi Lezer says you could. Chavitim Kohen Gadol, Rabbi Yochanan eina kedusha l'chatzayin. In other words, it has to be a full isaron. You can't go ahead and take halves. Rabbi Lezer amar mitoyshik karva l'chatzayin v'balt. You're going to go ahead and bring it as halves, kedusha l'chatzayin. The act of kiddush being magdish and klishares, you can do halves. Okay, you can go ahead and do shit. Asiri kodesh. He's number 10. Mm-hmm. Very good. Amar Bacha. My time with Rabbi Yochanan. What's the reason for Rabbi Yochanan that it's not kodesh? Amakra. Now the pasuk says, "Zeh korban Aaron ubanov asher yakrivu l'Hashem biyom himashach oso asiris la'efa soiles mincha tamid machtzisa b'boker u'machtzisa be'erev." So it says mincha and it says machtzisa. It says mincha and it says machtzisa. So amakra mincha machtzisa. What does that mean? Heavy mincha, bring a full mincha, which is an isaroin. V'yaka chayseyu, and afterwards go ahead on and you divide it. So this is Drash's kasha on Rabbi Lezer. Meisvei, another kasha on Rabbi Lezer. Chaviti kohen gadol lahoya boyas chatzayin. Chaviti kohen gadol did not come halves. Elamevi isaron shalem. You bring a full isaron. V'chaytzehu, and then you divide it in half. Right? That's like Rabbi Yochanan. V'tanya. Ilu neman mincha machzis hayusa aimer maybe chatzi saron mi beisai shachris umakriv chatzi saron mi beisai arvis umakriv. If we were to say mincha machzis, I would say you bring half. Tamaloyma machzisa ba'boiker. What does that mean? Mechza mishalem hu mevi. So machzisa ba'boiker. In other words, guys, you're bringing a whole. A half should be bought in the morning and a half in the afternoon. When you say, if you want to say mincha machzis, but it doesn't say that. It says bring a mincha, and half of it should be brought in the morning and half in the afternoon. That's mashma what? You're bringing the whole thing. Kasha and Rabbi Lezer says you can be magdash half. It says you can be magdash half. It's mashma you can't. And for the Gemara, the mitzvah. This is the mitzvah. It's like lichatchila, you should bring the whole thing. But this is the mitzvah. In other words, the mitzvah to do it. But not that if you don't do it, that if you do it, it's not going to be kasha. In fact, it would be kasha. In fact, what? It would be kasha. Amler of Gavia mi beksil l'Ravashi. V'ho chukah ksivba. In the parsha it says chukah. V'ho chukah ksivba. I don't have it. Wait, did it say chukah ksivba? Do I have the pasuk?
Yeah, if you had a
olam. It says chok olam.
Let me see the pasuk.
There was no pasuk test for it.
Just one second, Yehuda. Okay, so Feg the Gemara Kasha, how can you say lemitzvah hachuka ksivba? It says the lashon of chuka, right? That's the pasuk. It just says the pasuk is. I'm sorry for delaying this, but it says Chayk Olam. Rashi says Chayk Olam. Okay, yeah.
Since you're saying it's Kishalach Hatzayin B'Chavita, right? But
He
if-
says you could. Rebbe Lezer says you could.
Right, but if the coin in the middle of the day becomes tamei, you get a new coin in the middle of the day. He has to bring a full moon. It doesn't mean only
Okay.
half.
Okay. The question is, it's a kodesh. The question is that you have kodesh. That's all. You want to know what status does it have? Is it kodesh b'kli? Is it kedushas damim? Is it kedushas aguf? Shaykh pidyon or not? That's it. Yeah, again. No, again. It's whether it's kodesh, right? It's kodesh. You want to know what level of kedusha does it get? Okay. So Fred the Gemara Kasha l'charev chukasiba amalei. So Rabbi Lezer said like nitzcha ela lehevia. So Rav Ashi said el lehevia shalom mi. You have to bring what the chukah is. You have to bring shalom mi beisai. But in other words, the Chazon Ish says that when you magdish it, you have to be magdish a shalom. But in other words, guys, remember there's two dinim. In the house, you say it's kodesh, as kedushas damim. Then you bring it to the base of the Mikdash and they put it in the klisharis. So the chukah is going on in the house, where the whole thing is shalom. Then you bring it. So Rabbi Lezer says once you bring it to be magdish and klisharis, you can do half. To bring it, you have to bring whole. To be magdish it, you can be magdish half. Fred Gemara Miyam Rabbi Yochanan Hachi va'itmar hifrish chatzi sorin v'daita l'hoisif Rabba me'ena kodesh Rabbi Yochanan kodesh. You're telling me Rabbi Yochanan says you can't be magdish l'chatzayim. Guys, you're telling me Rabbi Yochanan says you can't be magdish l'chatzayim, right? So it says Rabbi Yochanan openly, if you bring half a sorin and your das is to go ahead and be moisif, right? It's kodesh. V'misa leiluf michavitin. If it's true, you should learn from chavitin. Just like chavitin, you can't be magdash half. So to a regular mincha, guys, this is speaking about a regular mincha. So to a regular mincha, you should not be able to go ahead and be magdash half. Let's keep it the same way. Let's learn milsa milsa. Let's learn out minchas regular from minchas chavitin. And just like Rabbi Yochanan says, minchas chavitin, you can't do half. So to a regular mincha, you shouldn't be able to do half. V'chitem Rabbi Yochanan milsa milsa l'yolef. You're going to tell me that why he doesn't learn milsa milsa, right? From Rabbi Yochanan. Shlomim sheshachnim behechel. Again, where should the shlomim be geshachtin? Komlakim bazara. The darim, it works. What happens if you shecht it in the hechel itself? Right, like we had the shalom by doing a mincha, doing a kmitza. What about shechting? You took an animal into the kodesh. Can you go ahead and shecht it there? It's kosher. T'chsiv v'shachtu pesach oyel mayed. What does that mean? You should shecht pesach. You could shecht pesach oyel mayed. If you could shecht Pesach oil mayed, certainly you can shecht in the oil mayed. Why? The lower part, the heichel, the azara vis-a-vis the heichel is a tafel. So if it says you shecht guys, we learned that in Masechet Zvachim. The shach the Pesach oil mayed, you can't shecht the shlom until the oil mayed is open, right? You can't shecht until the oil mayed is open. So we learns out l'chayra now. What's the limit over here? You learned that Heichel. You learned that what? Heichel me'azara. So just like you learn Heichel me'azara, you could learn out Mincha from Chavitin. Fred Gemara Kasha, guys. Fred Gemara Kasha. Rabbi Yochanan says you cannot go ahead and do halvesies by the Minchas Chavitin. You could do halvesies by what? By regular mincha. Fred the Gemara, why doesn't he learn a regular mincha out from chavitin? Fred the Gemara, maybe he doesn't learn out one from the other. And for the Gemara, you see shlomim, he does learn out one from the other. He learns out heichel from the azara. So if he does learn out from something, let him learn out regular mincha from chavitin. Just like if chavitin halves doesn't work, so to what? So to so to regular mincha, it shouldn't work. That's what the Gemara's kasha is. And for the Gemara, daita lehoisif shiny. When your das is to add on, it's different, right? When your das is to add on, it's different. Okay, where do you know that from? The Tanya Milayim. Now, what does the pasuk say? The pasuk says, "The karbanoi karas kesef achash shloshim mea mishkala mizok echad kesef shim shekel b'shekel hakodesh shneim Milayim sleilis." Now it says Milayim, a Milayim el shleimim, right? For Rabbi Yosi, a Masai, when do we say you need a shalem? Bisman shein daita lahoisif. Bisman shein daita lahoisif, rishon kadesh. So we have Rabbi Yochanan source. Shnei Malayim, when do you need Malayim? The full share, That's when what? That's when your das is to be moisif. Or when your das is to be moisif, whatever you put in the klishares, right? Whatever you put in piece by piece becomes what? Becomes kodesh. Yes.
The matas to see him, you could learn out halachas from matas to see him to the rest of life.
Oh, the Dairis, yeah, I think they speak about that. But again, yeah, we're going to learn another halacha soon, right? When they did it, it's yeah, it wasn't a Rasha. But again, the Rosh show is the fact that it was a chatas, I think, and it wasn't like chatas nachshen, right? It wasn't brought on the chait, right? I think that was the, but you could learn out. Says the Gemara, v'Rav b'chavitin kiman svirule. Rav said you can't be magdish, correct? Now Rabbi Yochanan had a pasuk that you could, but he says that what, but not by chavitin. He says that you can't be magdish chatzayin, right? Machlokes Rabbi Yochanan by a regular mincha. Rav says you can't. Why does we have a pasuk shnei milayim, right? So l'chari you could. Rabbi Chavitin commands severely. Ikar Rebbe if he learns that like he holds like Rebbe Laza, that Rebbe Laza says by Chavitin you could, Leiluchim Chavitin that you should be able to. That's what Rebbe Laza said. You could be Magdish Hevzis. B'chitema Rav Milsami Milsal Yal if he doesn't learn out a regular mincha from Chavitin, and therefore he can't learn out Hevzis. V'amar Rav Mincha Kedusha B'leish. Okay, Rav says Mincha Kedusha B'leish Shemen. A mincha, guys. Let's see a regular mincha, guys. What's the component of regular mincha? You're going to have shemen. You can have silas, shemen, and levoina. If you put the shemen, you put the silas in the kli. Is it kodesh or not? In other words, maybe you need all three, right? Maybe you need all three together. How do you know that one alone would work? Mincha kedusha b'lei shemen shekain matzinu b'lechem aponim. We find, guys, lechem aponim. What? Lechem aponim only had flour, and it didn't have any oil. Beloy levaina shekain matzinu b'minchas nesachim. There was no levaina in minchas nesachim. There was only shemen and oil and solas. Below shemen or below levaina, right? Without anything, just flour. Shekain matzinu b'minchas chayta. You see that? So right now, so you see that what? You see that Rav holds. You learn out milsa milsa. You guys, he's learning out milsa milsa. He's learning out from chayta. He's learning out from minchas nesachim. So if he learns milsa, and he holds like Rebbe Laza, then just like minchas chavitin, you go hevzis. So to a regular mincha, you should go hevzis. Again, Rav says hevzis doesn't work. Learn from chavitim from Rebbe Laza that it does work, and he does learn milsa as is illustrated by the fact that he learns out a carbon that the shemen's kodesh by itself. Okay, I will see that. Al karchach Rav Rabbi Yochanan. You have to say Rav holds like Rabbi Yochanan, but that by chavitin. Rabbi Yochanan says by chavitin it's not kodesh, right? And therefore he must hold like Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yochanan holds the chavitin is not kodesh. It comes like this. L'gabe chavitin, Rebbe Laza says yes hevzis. Rabbi Yochanan says no hevzis. Regarding a regular mincha, Rabbi Yochanan says yes hevzis, and Rav says no hevzis. Okay, that's the machlokes. Gufa. Going back over the Gemara, we just said that Rav learns milsa milsa, right? We wanted to prove it, and now we're going to analyze that statement for itself. Gufa Amar Rav, mincha kedusha b'lei shemen. A mincha can be kodesh even without the shemen in it. Shekei matzina b'lechem aponim did not have shemen. B'loi levaina shekei matzina b'minchas esachim. B'loi shemen or b'loi levaina shekei matzina minchas chayta. Good. Shemen ulevaina, right? Minchas chayta v'shemen ulevaina kotche hai b'lei hai. In other words, it's possible to have Shemen Kodesh alone. It's possible to have Levaina Kodesh alone. Where do you know that from? Shekei Matzina B'loik Shemen Shal Mitzayra. We know the Ashram that the Mitzayra bought. We're familiar with that already with the 7 spitzing of the Proiches and the Behoinus. Levaina Shekei Matzina B'Levainas Haba B'Zichen in the frankincense on the pot of the Minchas of the Lechem Aponim. So therefore, you see that what the Gufa that Rav holds that you can be magdish all these entities by themselves. So you have a regular carbon mincha that's accompanied soilus with shemen and levaina. Once you put it in the kli, you're good. Just shemen's kodesh. Now, Reb Chanina Amar Amid Beis. Reb Chanina is of the opinion loizu kedusha b'loizu v'loi kedusha b'loizu. Zog the Heilige Rashi loi kedusha b'loizu b'chala menachos hatun shemen and levaina. Any mincha that requires all three. Ein kli shares mekadesh echamehem Elam chen shloshtam biyachad bikli. Mamish argues directly on Rav. You need all three together.
Until you put the third thing in, the other
Not kodesh, right? You have to all three together. They have to be all three together in order to be kodesh according to Reb Chanina, and that's the halacha. If you see the aleph, the Rambam, then is passing with Reb Chanina. Good. Now comes that very geschmack, guys. Ulechamina isaran lama nimshach. Now there was a kli that had an isaran in it, right? Just an isaran, yeah. Why was it nimshach, guys? To make it a kli shares, yes. But lo Reb Chanina, you'll never have a mincha with a regular mincha. Isaran, you're gonna have to have an addition. You're gonna need shemen. So why use kodesh? You're not gonna use it. You're not gonna use it because you need all three. And for the Gemara, very geschmack. And for the Gemara, the minchas chayta says Yehuda minchas chayta, which is right. Minchas chayta, that's what you need it for. Minchas chayta, which is just isaran alone without shemen on the vayna. For the Gemara, v'loig lama nimshach. Why was the loig? Since the loig shemen needs what? It needs isarin and it needs flour and it needs shemen. And that the Gemara answers what? It needs the levina. It says the Gemara loig sham mitzvah. You need it for loig of the mitzvah. Good.
What does the Gemara ask about?
What? What do you mean?
Yes, you had one that was in Isran for the.
Well, you need V'zichin is pashat because it's in Lachma Panim.
But
There's nothing in there.
Nothing ever added to it.
There's nothing else there. That was it. Okay, says the Gemara Vaita. So again, what did Rav hold? Rav held that alone in the kli it's going to be kodesh. Rav held alone in the kli it's going to be kodesh. Right? That was Rav's opinion. Alone in the kli it's going to be kodesh. Okay, says the Gemara Vaita. Ba'af Shmuel sabala lahadarav. Shmuel holds like Rav that a klisharis can be magdish soiles without levina and not shemen. That nan. We had this Mishnah towards the end of Zvachim. Kli halach, a kli that usually contains liquid. Mekachin es halach has the capacity to be magdish kedushas aguf a davalach. Umidois hayavesh mekachin es hayavesh, and the measuring cups of dry measurements mekachin es hayavesh. Vein kli halach mekachin es hayavesh. V'lo midas hayavesh mekachin es halach. They can't. V'amar Shmuel lo shanu that a midas yavesh can be mekadesh halach, or vice versa. A midas, that's only a measuring cup. Avo mizrakos, that mizrakos guys, they caught the dam, but so dam is a liquid. Those have the capacity mekadesh yavesh. They can go ahead and be magdash yavesh. Shenemar, what does the pasuk say? The karbanoi guys, listen to the pasuk. It brings the end of the pasuk. You need the first part of the pasuk. The karbanoi kares kesav achas shloishim u'meya mishkala mizrak. Echad, what does mizrak echad mean? One kli, guess what's a mizrak? It's a blood kli, a blood that's makabel blood. Now, what does it say on it? Mizrak echad kesef, shivim shekel, b'shekel ha'kodesh, shneim milayim soiles, belula b'shem and lemincha. Good. So what does it say? It says that this mizrak is going to contain what? It's going to contain shemen, it's going to contain yavesh. It's going to contain yavesh, right? Now, and it's going to be kodesh. It's going to be kodesh. So now we have to figure out. So we know it's kodesh, but this has shemen in it also. We need shemen alone. Excuse me. We need either shemen alone or we need silas alone, right? We need the yavesh alone. Good. That's what we need. So now, so this. So Amalei Rav Achmi Diflu Ravina Mincha Lachahi. Mincha is lach. So l'chayra, what's your raya? To dry. We know there's pockets. There's guys. If it can be magdish pockets alone, no, here's the one way to learn. If it can be magdish, a pocket of liyavesh mixed with the oil, it certainly can be magdish what? The yavesh alone. That's one way. There's another way, and it's a Rashbam as quoted by Tosfos. I'll tell it to you outside. The raya that the kli, that's a mizrak, could go ahead and be magdash and mincha, even though the kli is for blood and it's not for yavesh, is because the mincha is right to be in another kli, and certainly what if it's mekadesh if it can be Makadish, the dryness in this Kli, certainly it can be Makadish in a Kli by itself. That's the way Rashbam learns. Guys, you have a Kli over here that's Roy for Dam. And what's it doing? It's being Magdish, Yavesh mixed in with Shemen. Certainly, if it's a Kli alone that's made for Yavesh, should be able to go ahead and be Magdish the Yavesh itself. Again, this Kli is a Kli made for blood. We see if you have the oil and the packets of Yavesh, it could do that, even though it's not Roy Lakach. Kol Shekain, where something is Roy Lakach, it has the capacity to Magdish the Yavesh. That's the Raya according to the Rashbam, according to Taisus. Minchol Gab says Avisema Minchol Gabi Dam Kiyavesh Damya. It's like Kiyavesh, and therefore what? It's not a kasha. You ask the kasha. It's lacha. It's not lacha. The Gabi Dam. It's considered Yavesh. Kufa Amr Balaza Mincha shecomes to behechel. A mincha that you claim it's in the hechel kshera. It's kasha. She came with sin besilik bezichin, because you find the bezichin was you remove the bezichin in the hechel, and the bezichin guys had a din of a kamitza, right? It's the levaina to it matted the lechem upon him. Maser of Yemia, the kamatz misham mimakam sheraglei hazar oimdais. You kamatz misham in the place where the ragolim of the zar. This is Ezra Yisrael. As soon as you walk in the Azar, it's the first 11 amas, 12 amas, 11 amas, I think 11. But B'seira Omer, Minayin She'im Kamatz B'smoil, She'yachzav Yichmatz B'yamin. How do you know if you do it with the left, you turn to the right? Tamad Loimar, V'kamatz Misham, Mimakam She'kamatz Kvar. Ikadi Amri, so now he's asking a kasha. L'chayre, how can you say you do it in the Heichel? You see you do it what? As soon as in the eastern part of the Azara. So Ikadi Amri who Moislo Mufarak, those who say that Rav Yirmiyah asked the kasha and he answered the kasha, Ikadi Amri, Amalei Rav Yaakov Rav Yirmiyah Bar Tachlifa, Rav Yirmiyah Bar Tachlifa Asbalcha. We had a shaila in the other Gemara, is it together or separate, right? Okay. So do you read this, Rav Amalei, so he said, Amalei Rav Yaakov Rav Yirmiyah Bar Tachlifa Asbalcha. That Bar Tachlifa will go ahead and answer it. Or you could say, Amalei Rav Yaakov Rav Yirmiyah Bar Tachlifa Asbalcha. I think it's the first way. Makes sense, because Rabbi Yirmiyah is one talking. The reason why it says you should do it over there, not that you have to do it over here, it's telling you could do it over there. Now, why would you need a limud to tell me you could do it there? Right? Guys, you need a pasuk to tell me that you're able to do the mincha in that area. Why would you think not? So I would think, this kula. You shouldn't say, since a carbon oil is kachik kadashim, umincha kachik kadashim, and a mincha is kachik kadashim, ma oila tu'unat sofin. Just like the oila, kachik kadashim, is in the north, af mincha tu'unat sofin. So to the mincha needs the north, because it's kachik kadashim. Ayelias malo oila shekain kalu, it's totally burnt. Chatas, so you learn from chatas. The chatas kachik kadashim needs the north, so too mincha is kachik kadashim needs the north. Ayelias malo chatas shekain mechaperes. Al chayve krisos. Says Gemara mi Hashem. Hashem's kachik kadashim. It's kritasim etzaflein. Malo Hashem shekain mine domim. Right? It's a blood carbon. Says Gemara. In fact, mikule nami shekain mine domim. So oil and chatas also mine domim. So therefore, maybe only kachik kadashim of blood needs the north, but mincha not. So why would I need a limud of sham to tell me that what you can do it in when you walk in the Azara with a place where Yisrael stands? Right? Why would you think otherwise? You can't learn it out from what? From Kachik Kadashim. All the Kabbanis, they're damim. They're blood Kabbanis. Ella Itzterich. I still need a limit of Misham to tell me the place of Raglei Zor Shoim Misham. Salkadait Chamina, guys. I would think the following. Hoyel v'ksiv, v'ekrivu el ha'koyen, v'gish el ha'mizbeach. There's a din of Hagasha. Guys, remember I made this mistake about halacha. There's a din of Hagasha, where the kohen would take it and go to the southwest, and he would touch up to the southwest. So you would think, since this is the beginning of Agosha southwest, maybe Kmitza also has to be in the southwest. So you need a pasuk to tell me, it can be in another place. That's what you need a pasuk for. Ma Hagosha b'keren droimis maravis. Just like the Hagosha is southwest. I would think Af Kmitza nami b'keren droimis maravis. I would think Kmitza is also southwest. Kemash malon what? Kemash malon. Kamash Malon, that it doesn't have to be southwest. Kamash Malon, it can be Mamokan Sham, the place where you go ahead and you do Kamitza could be done in the place where what Sham, where the Yisrael stands.